Hello everyone. So today we will be solving another question which is merge intervals. So what we have to do in this question that we have given an array of intervals and we have to merge all the overlapping intervals. In this case let's take this first case. So we have given this 2D array 1 3 2 6 8 10 and 15 18. So find we have to return those intervals only which don't have any overlapping numbers. So let's take 1 3 2 6. So 1 2 3 4 5 6. Now 1 to 3 1 to 3 is first interval, and from 2 to 6 there is another interval. So what we have to do, we have to merge this interval, these two intervals, into one. So what we can do, we can take first index as 1 and second index as 6. So in this way we will able to merge these two subarrays into this single interval. So now how can we generate intuition for solving this problem for the first time? Simply we can see that if this we can see this last element, which is 3, which is greater than the first element of the second interval. Yeah, and if we compare these two, so 3 is greater than 2, so we can say that these two subarrays is getting overlapped. So this is the concept we will going to use in this question. We will compare the first element of the first subarray uh, and first index of the first subarray and 0th index of the second subarray, and we will compare them, and if we will check whether this element is greater than this element or not, if or equals to, if this element is greater than the first element of the 0th element of the second subarray, then we will merge them, merge those merge these two subarrays. So let's move on to the screen. I will explain during the coding as well, then we will able to understand more clearly what is happening in this question. So let's start doing code. And um, another thing is that this is the brute force method, and in this video I will going to discuss only the brute force method. In the next video I will discuss how to solve this question in an efficient manner. So let's start coding. So first what we will do, we will sort this array, because after sorting the array we have the array in this way, and this is the best way to solve this question. We will sort this array first. So we will going to sort this array using lambda expression, which you can study in object oriented programming in Java. So let's start. So first we will arrays dot sort. First we will pass the 2D array intervals. Now we will pass the two sub array that we will going to sort. Uh, Not those array we will going to sort. We will initializing these two array that we want to sort. Array 2, array 1 and array 2, we can give any name. Now intervals array 1 and array 2. Now we will use lambda expression integer dot compare array 0. We want to sort array in increasing order, so this is the syntax for sorting the array in increasing order. Array 1, array 2. So now we have sorted these two array. Now what we will do, we will create a list so that we can store our merged intervals. So let's create arrays list, and this is the list of small sub array. So int final list equals to new array list. Now what we will do, we will take out the first element of our first subarray of our interval, so that we can compare it to the second subarray of the interval. So let's comment it out. Taking out the first sub array of the interval, so that we can compare it next. So which is and this subarray is also an array, so we will initialize data type as array, and let's do it current interval, and we will intervals 0. So now what we will do, we will add this current interval to our final list, because this is the first one element we can directly add to our final list, and after that we can compare final list dot add current interval. Now we will start traversing into the array, into the 2D array for int I equals to 1, as 0th element is already in the list, so we will start comparing from the first element. So I less than intervals dot length I plus plus. Now we will find what we have to find. We have to find this 1, 3, 2 and 6. So what we will going to call 1 in our code, first element begin, and this is the first element end, and this is first element second element begin, and this is the second element end, so that we can compare it in the next step. So int first element, or we can say first interval begin is equals to, so our first element begin will be the first, this is our current interval. The current interval is 1 and 3, so we have to find 1 first. So we will do int first begin equals to current interval 0th, because this is the 0th index. So now we will move to first interval end, which is again equals to current interval, but this time the index will become 1, because we have to find this 3. Now we will have to find 2. So second interval begin, which is equals to intervals, because we are traversing in this array, so intervals I. So interval size is any general element of this 2D array. In the first traversal it will going to be 2,6. So intervals I, and we want to find it 0th index, which is in first travel going to be 2. Now we will move to second interval end, and which is going to be intervals I and 1, because 6 is the first index. So now what we will do, as we have find this 1 3 2 6. Now we have to compare 3 and 2. So let's compare. If first first index interval is greater than or equals to second interval, first interval is greater than second interval, first interval end, because 3 is first interval end. So we will compare first interval end with second interval begin. Oh, sorry, begin interval 1, first interval end is greater than second interval begin. So now what we will do, if this element is greater than 2, we will update our current interval, which is 1 comma 3 second first index, to this 6, because this is the greatest one. So our current interval first index, current interval first index, which is going to 3, to math dot max first interval end comma second interval end. We have to find the maximum of these two, which is 6 in this case. So now what we will do, as we have updated our interval, now in the else case, if the intervals are not overlapping, what we will do, let's move else here because it's look good. So else, in the else case, what we will going to do, we will update our current interval to, we are updating current interval to intervals general element. In the first traversal it will going to be 2 comma 6, so we are updating our current interval to intervals I. Now what we will do, we will add this to our final array, final list, sorry, final list dot add current interval. Now in the end, after traversing in this loop, we will able to merge all the sub arrays which is getting overlapped, and in the end we will return final list. But in our function the return type is 2D array, so we have to convert this list to 2D array. So we will going to use another built-in function, to array new int. So the first we are initializing the outer array size, which is going to be final outer rows final list dot size, and this is going to be blank. Okay, so I think the code looks good. Array dot sort, first we have sort the array, then we have initialize an array list so that we can store all the numbers, all the merged intervals. Now next we have taken out the first sub array of the interval so that we can compare it next. Then we have added to our final list, then we have started comparing, and we have taken two conditions. If first element of the first interval end element is greater than second interval begin, then we will merge, we will update our current interval last index, and otherwise we will add directly the interval to our final list. So let's try to run this code. Okay, so our test cases has been accepted, so let's try to submit this question. So we have solved this question. So now in the next video I will going to discuss how to solve this question in an efficient manner. I will say that generating intuition for this question is easy, but but coding part is little bit hard. So bye, see you next time in the next video. Thank you.